Hello everyone, Zellerant here, and I've been playing Arknights Endfield now for a little bit over the last couple days. Now, I'm not hardcore grinding it, but I've played it enough to kind of see every system, and I'm going to continue playing it to get a little bit more into the others, everything that I can, before I start making videos on specific systems. But I thought I'd kind of start with the first one that you get right off the bat pretty early in the game. It is going to be the Gacha system. And so the Gacha system, it's got a lot of drama online. You got a lot of people that are defending the system, as well as a lot that are attacking the system. I think the biggest thing, from my opinion, is just quite different than systems that people are used to. Now, I will say there is some big drawbacks to this system, especially since it doesn't follow the standard gacha system that we've seen. And so there are going to be people, as soon as they start this game, that can, if you do things incorrectly, you can waste a lot of pulls in this game, especially when it comes to getting limited units. So let's go ahead and take a look at this, at the banners in the game here. So the first thing, now there is a weapon banner in here. We'll talk about that after we go through the character banners here. So the first thing you have right off the bat, which looks to be your standard banner. This one has that 20% discount that you see with a lot of gacha games. Big negative that I see with it, though, is it uses the same currency as the limited banner here. So even with that discount, I'm not going to be pulling on this. Now, it depends on how the standard banner is going to work. I have not been able to get a firm answer, and nobody knows whether after a unit falls off. So this character right here, Leviathan, when she falls off this limited banner here in 8 days, does she get moved into the standard pool? Or is she just now gone and we have to wait for a rerun? That has not been answered yet. So we'll kind of have to see how valuable the standard banner ends up being, depending on how they treat the limited banner units. If it's like Sword of Convallaria, as soon as she falls off, she'll be in the standard pool. If not, then we have to wait for a rerun. Now, I think it could work like Sword of Convallaria's because their polling pity system is very similar to Sword of Convallaria's. And so with that, we'll kind of take a look at what their pity system is, and we'll see what the big drama is around it. And I do think it is a pretty big deal. And you will, if you're coming into this game, you're going to want to pay attention how to utilize your pulls in this game, because you cannot just throw them willy-nilly on the limited banner like you may do in a game like HSR. And that is because there is 2 separate pities in this game. Now, the first thing is the 6... We're not even going to talk about anything besides the 6 stars here. But the 6 stars have a 0.8% chance of dropping. Slightly better than a Hoya first game, but decently worse than games like Sword of Convallaria. Now, when we get to the guarantees and the pity system, there's 2 of them. You have that 0.8% chance. You have after 80 pulls, you're guaranteed to get a 6 star. But once you hit that pity, this one's 50-50 chance. Every time you do 80 pulls, you have a 50-50 shot of getting the limited banner unit. And then this guarantee carries from one banner to the next. So if you do 40 pulls on a banner, don't get the character, you're going to still have 40 pulls of pity saved up for getting to the 80 pity on the next limited banner. So on the next banner, you can just do 40 pulls, and now you got a 50-50 shot of getting that limited unit. That brings in, though, the second pity, and this is similar to Sword of Convallaria because it has that 100 pull guarantee of a 6 star, or whatever they call it, 100%, or SSR unit. And Sword of Convallaria, you have 100 pulls to guarantee an SSR unit, just like this one's 80. Now, Sword of Convallaria has that 100 pull pity to guarantee the limited unit. This game has a 120 pull to guarantee the limited 6-star unit. So this one is completely separate from the 80 pull pity, in that the 80 pull gives you the 50-50 shot. After you do 120 pulls, you're guaranteed to get the limited unit. There's 2 big negatives on this one, though. The first one is this pity does not carry over. So what that means is, say there's a unit that you like, and you're like, I'm willing to put 40 pulls trying to get lucky and get them, but if I don't get them in 40 pulls, then whatever, I'll skip them and just go to the next banner. The problem is, while those 40 pulls will count towards the 80 pull pity for a 50-50 shot on the next banner, those 40 pulls will drop off on the pity for the 120 pulls. What this effectively means is if you want to pull over a unit, you pretty much always want to have 120 pulls, because you're going to lose any buildup you have towards that 120 pull guarantee as soon as the banner drops. So it doesn't matter if you do 119 pulls and you do not get the unit after that 119 pulls, once that banner drops, you lose that 119 pulls towards that 120 pity. And effectively, that means you never want to test your luck in this game. There is no throwing 40 pulls on a banner and hoping you get lucky. Because if you do that, you can do 40 pulls over and over and over and over again as the banners keep dropping and never get a limited unit. Because the only way to guarantee them is after 120 pulls. And then that brings up the next big negative on this system, is that it is a one-time deal. This guarantee can only trigger once. What this means is you're not going to be able to target dupes. You're not going to get dupes. Every time after the 120, the only pity left on that banner is that 80. And that 80 pity only gives you a 50-50 shot. So if you're going to whale and you're going to want to try and max out a unit at 6 dupes, you have a 50-50 shot every time. And theoretically, you could spend thousands of dollars and still not get the max duped unit because there is no guarantees after the first guarantee. And so that's another big unit. That's a big negative against whales. If you're free to play or a light spender, you shouldn't be going for dupes anyway, so who cares? But that is definitely one to get your whales to dump a ton of money in this game because they have no amount of money. Like, they could spend thousands of dollars and not get the unit. So that kind of sucks. And then the big negative of free to play is you pretty much, if you want to have the most amount of 6-star units you can get in this game, you always save that 120 pulls before you even attempt pulls on a banner, since that 120 guarantee is not going to carry. Alright, so that's the big negatives. That's where all the drama is, because it really does suck. Because you can't just press your luck on the banners. There is a big positive with it. And I think the positive is more for your light to medium spenders than free-to-play. But if you're a free-to-play that doesn't get that itch to pull every single banner, it's also going to be really positive for you as well. And this is what I've heard from creators. I have not been able to test this since I won the 50-50 on my first pull. But these two, the 80% and the 120, are separate, completely separate. Meaning, if you pull all the way to that 120, so let's say you only get you hit the pity both times. So say you have 0 pity, you hit the 80 pity, you lose the 50-50 on that 80 pity, you do another 40 pulls to get your 120 pull guarantee, you'll get the unit, but you also will have built up 40 pity towards that 80 pity that will carry over. So say in this first banner, you do all 120 pulls and get your guaranteed 6-star limited banner unit. When the next banner drops, you're going to have 40 pity towards the 80. What it means is now all it takes is 40 pulls at a shot 50-50 of getting the limited unit. And so you can get lucky there, and you can get 2 of the limited units in just 160 pulls, even with normal luck. That's average luck. You're going to lose 150-50, you're going to win 150-50. So on average, it's going to take about, I'd say, 160 pulls to get 2 6-stars. But that's on average. And so statistically, this game has a very good odds and statistically has a very good shot at getting a lot more 6-stars than another game like a Hoyoverse game. Now, it's not better than, say, Sword of Convallaria, because their odds are crazy with their 2%. But this one, and it's much lower. 120 is not as many pulls as, say, Honkai Star Rail to guarantee a unit. And everything that I've seen in playing this game so far, the pulls I do feel like you get the same amount of pulls that you get in a Hoyoverse game. So you're going to be able to get more units as long as that keeps up. I don't know. There'll be people that have the hard numbers on that coming out and actually figuring out how many pulls you're going to end up getting per month on a monthly basis or per banner basis. So we'll kind of have to wait for those numbers. But so far, through playing through the beta, I do think it kind of does match your typical amount of currency you get with other gachas. So if that's the case, you're going to be able to pull more 6-stars in this game than you can pull in other games typically. And then with that, we get to the weapon banner next. Now, when you're pulling on these banners, there's 2 currencies. Well, there might be 3, but there's 2 main currencies that you'll get as you're getting the units in. You have, so if you go to the certificate exchange here, you will get some of these certificate guaranteed certs as you're doing your pulls. I believe they drop on your elite and the SSR units in this game, and you don't get that many. But this is what goes towards the shop that you see in a lot of gacha games, where you can trade them in either for more pulls, or this other currency here for the arsenal, which you can trade it in for arsenal pulls, which is the weapon pulls. Or if you save up a lot of them, you can guarantee some of the other standard 6 stars. But like I said, you're not getting that many. So after about, I think I'm at 65 pulls. After 65 pulls, I basically have saved up, and I can buy 5 additional pulls in this. So not as much as another game. But what it does give you, and what you do get a lot of, is these arsenal tickets. I've only done about 65 pulls, and I've already done a 10 pull on the arsenal banner, plus I accidentally bought an elite weapon. So in 65 pulls, I've gotten about 15,000 arsenal tickets. And it's just under 3,000 to do a pull here. So you could say I could do 5-10 pulls on this banner with the 65 pulls. That's pretty good. And most people don't want to go after weapon banners. But this one you pretty much have to, because you're guaranteed to get pulls that only apply towards it. But then the weapon banners also have really, really good rates. It's 4% on the 6-star. While editing the video, I realized I made a mistake, and I'm just going to make a quick correction here, in that when it comes to the weapon banner, it is actually a 25% chance to get the weapon that is the rate up here, not a 50-50. So you'll hear me refer to it as 50-50 a couple more times in the video. Just know for the weapon banner, it is actually a 25-75% chance. So you have a 4% chance of getting a 6-star, but it's 50-50 shot of getting the main one that's on there. So, and there is no pity to guarantee it. So you could put a lot of pulls in this and not get the rate up one. You might keep getting these ones on a 50-50 shots. But at a 4% rate, you on average should get a 6-star every 25 pulls. So I actually really like that system. Now, and then the other one is, if you don't get it after 4 pulls, which you have to do a 10 pull every time. So after every 40 pulls, you're guaranteed to get a 6-star if you don't get one. And sorry there, my dog was wanting to let him out because my wife just got back. But like I was saying there, I mean, every 25 pulls, you're going to get a 6-star weapon. It's ultimately going to come down on this to whether or not you need dupes to make those weapons work. If you need to get the dupes of the weapon to make it better than these elite ones, then that's going to really suck, because then you're going to have to just save up and dump a lot of them in this banner. And with the amount of currency they are giving us, I kind of feel like dupes will become important, but only time can tell on that. But we'll just have to see. All I know is you're going to pull for weapons in this game. This isn't like Honkai Star Rail where you can just ignore the light cones because you're using the same pulls. It's its own separate currency, and you're going to get a ton of it as you do your pulls for characters. And so you're just going to have to be picky on the weapons you want, but you're going to be able to pull for them and eventually get them on your units. And I like the rates on it. So I actually like this system. Because I like when it's not tied to the character. Wuthering Waves does it the same way as well. Although in Wuthering Waves, you can convert the currency just like this one. You can convert the main currency into arsenal pulls as well. Absolutely don't do that. You're going to get tons of this pulling on characters. So there's no reason to convert your main currency into arsenal pulls at all on this. But that's pretty much that there. More details of this is going to come out and how it's going to work. How good are these weapons? I'm not going to crunch the numbers at this point. I'll just make another video as more information on it comes out. But that is pretty much both systems. I understand the lot of drama around this system. It is super annoying that the 120 pity goes away. You lose that on the next banner. I think that is one thing I think they should change. I think they should allow it to carry. I don't have the numbers or the statistics in front of me, but I believe if they let that carry from banner to banner, it's not going to change anything on people spending money on this game. All it changes if they allow that to carry is that someone can try and get lucky on characters a banner earlier. So rather than having to save all the way 120 pulls before you even make a pull, you can just throw 40 pulls on one banner. If you don't get lucky, just try on the next banner. and then eventually you'll get them at 120 pulls. So it's kind of scummy in the fact that it doesn't carry, because that's the only thing it does. The math still works out the same. You're still going to get 6 stars at the same rate, and the only thing it can really do is screw you out of limited characters if you pull on a banner and don't go all the way to that 120 and get them. And there's one more thing that I'd say is negative about it, I kind of forgot to bring up, is with that system where the 120 does not carry over, it makes no sense to ever do 10 pulls. And that's going to suck, because I'm not going to do 10 pulls if that system stays. And one of the reasons is, if you do a 10 pull and you get the limited character on the very first pull of that 10 pull, that 9 pulls after it are not carrying over into the next banner for the 120 pity. And I absolutely, depending on how much currency they give you in this game, that could be a lot. That could be quite significant. 9 pulls is a lot. That's almost a single 10 pull that you're losing out on. And so if you get lucky and get them on that first pull of that 10 pull, well, you just lost 10 pity towards the next one. And so you're going to want to do even your very first pulls, even though it's very unlikely. You're just going to want to do all, I mean, this is if you're wanting to min-max your pull currency. You're going to want to do all single pulls. Because as soon as you get that limited character on that single pull, you're done. You do not pull in this banner again. You cannot guarantee a dupe. You just do a single pull and you are done. So I think they should absolutely change it and allow it to carry over, because mathematically it doesn't change the statistics at all. You're going to get the same amount of 6 stars with or without that pity carrying over. The only difference is you can screw yourself from guaranteeing a limited 6 star. That's the biggest difference. And if you're smart and you do like I'm saying here, you're going to get the same amount of limiteds regardless too. You just have to be smart. People that don't, it's really trying to capture the people that aren't paying attention to the rules, that will dump 40 or 80 pulls and then stop and wait for the next banner. And that, to me, that's going to be kind of scummy, because you're going to have a lot of players that come from a Hoyoverse game that are going to come into this, and they're going to dump 80 pulls, they're going to lose the 50-50, and they're like, I don't want this character, whatever. I'll just wait for the next banner, and then I'll get them on the next banner, and then they're going to realize, holy crap, that 120 just reset. I can't guarantee them anymore. And it's just like they're back to ground zero. And I know there's going to be a lot of people that are going to run into that situation, and that, to me, can cause people to quit the game right off the bat when they just wasted 80 pulls for one of the standard units. But that's just my thoughts on it. We'll kind of have to see. I feel like they're getting enough feedback that it may change, because I don't think it's going to change them financially if they make that pity carry over. That's my thoughts. I'm not the person running the numbers on their side. We'll have to see. I know 100% sure they're almost certainly going to keep in the only one-time guarantee, and because that only hurts whales. If you're going for dupes, you're a whale, in this game especially, because that's just a way to get thousands upon thousands of dollars out of your whales. But yeah, that's pretty much it. That's the pity system. That's kind of my feedback on it. I actually don't mind it overall. I just think it's going to royally screw some people, especially right off the bat. I think after the beginning, after the big wave of early currency they give us, it won't be that big a deal because people will know how it works. The problem is the people that don't know how it works right on game release that waste their pulls. But yeah, that's just my thoughts on it. I'll probably have some more on it as we get more information. But if you like my content, if you could like, comment, and subscribe, it really helps. And thanks for watching.